This is the East Tennessee Report, a public affairs program of the EW Scripps Company. My name is Frank Murphy. Today we are talking about Oak Ridge, its 75-year history, and the incredible Secret City Festival that runs the first week in June, culminating on June 8th and 9th. Our guests are Joy Montgomery. Hello, Joy.
Hi there.
And Ray Smith, an Oak Ridge historian and also involved in the Secret City Festival. Hi, Ray.
Yes. Good morning.
Happy to have you both here. So I did the mental math. We can spend 12 seconds per year of Oak Ridge's 75-year history, but that wouldn't leave any time for the Secret City Festival.
Right.
There's some years more important than others, so we may focus on them.
Well, maybe we can start with something that I am fascinated by when we talk about the history of Oak Ridge. And really the two questions are, how and why did they pick that area? How did they keep it a secret? People were born there. People got married there. They had to make arrangements. So let's start with quickly the history of Oak Ridge, Ray Smith.
Sure, yes. When you read in the history books about Oak Ridge, you'll read things like the lay of the land, the ridges, the valleys, those kinds of things, and the river being there, the Clinch River, proximity to Norris Dam, which was completed in 1936. So a source of electricity.
So that was just a few years before they built
just
Oak
before
Ridge.
1942. But what actually may have had more influence on it is when Albert Einstein wrote that letter about Germany buying this uranium ore and he's afraid they were going to build a bomb, President Roosevelt knew it would be an expensive undertaking. So he put General Groves in charge of the Manhattan Project. Groves had just finished building the Pentagon, so he knew how to put a large construction project together, knew how to get private industry involved, and he knew how to spend money. So President Roosevelt also called in Senator McKellar, and he said, Senator, I need to put a large amount of money against the war effort, and I can't let the press or anyone know how much it is or what it's being used for.
Oh.
Can you help me with that? Senator McKellar said, yes, Mr. President, I can do that for you. Just where in Tennessee you going to put this thing? So that likely had more to do than the lay of the land in getting East Tennessee selected for the Manhattan Project.
Oh, that is fantastic. Now, of course, I also mentioned keeping it a secret.
Sure.
It is the Secret City Festival. It gets that name from Oak Ridge's history. Prior to the bomb being dropped, it didn't exist.
Actually, and
officially.
even longer than that, for 7 years, from 1942 until March the 19th of 1949, it was the fifth largest city in the state of Tennessee, and it wasn't on any map. So It literally was a secret city for those 7 years, from 42 to 49.
Well, if you were born there, what did they do?
Then there were a lot of children born there, but you didn't get the kind of records that you would get today. In fact, they didn't tell people's last names, and they wouldn't tell how many people were being born in the hospital. No information like that was allowed to go out.
That's amazing.
Just so they wouldn't know the size of the place. There's an interesting story about keeping it secret. A number of years after the war, they formed a club called the 43 Club. That's for people who were there in 1943. Mm-hmm. And at the second meeting, when they were ending the meeting, this man held his hand up and said, I want to ask a question. Said, I had to keep a stack of blank 3x5 cards with me at all times, and if I heard anybody talking about the project, I had to write down what I heard, and I had to mail it in to the Acme Finance Company. If I didn't hear anything in a week, I had to mail a blank card in. Now, I wonder, did anybody else have to do that? About half the people in the room held their hand up. So they were spying on one another.
Oh, my goodness.
And I've been told by some of the people working there, a lady who was a Calyatron girl at the time, she said, you know, if you talked about the project, the next day you wouldn't be there.
Wow.
So that's how they kept it secret.
Wow. I am fascinated by the history of Oak Ridge. I got to meet one of the Calyatron girls on the Honor Air flight about a year and a half ago.
Peggy Stewart, I bet. I remember Peggy. She's a jewel.
And that is where the name Secret City Festival comes from. It's not a secret festival. It's a festival honoring the
Secret City
heritage of the Secret City. And over the years that I've been, I've seen fantastic displays about that World War II history and really everything else. And, of course, also the idea of making peace with Japan after the war. Joy Montgomery, you've been involved in the Secret City Festival for many times over.
A long time, yes.
What's some of the meaningful memories of it, and what are we doing this year to honor that 75-year history of Oak Ridge?
Well, we're doing quite a bit to honor the 75. One of the things we're not doing is we're not having a reenactment.
Well, the World War II reenactment was not really associated with the atomic bomb. That was more about D-Day and the war in Europe.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons we've decided to do some other things that have more of a tie to Oak Ridge than the World War II reenactment. Although that was a really good show that a lot of people enjoyed.
And if you were looking the wrong way when they fired that cannon, it was quite startling.
Get your attention.
It did get your attention. And it was interesting to see that. This year we're going to do things like we have a technology village, and we're actually looking at what Oak Ridge has developed over the years.
Right. When you jump ahead and talk about the supercomputers and ORNL, that is a huge part of Oak Ridge's history.
Big history.
Big history. We have a robotics competition at our high school on this weekend.
And the Oak Ridge High School robotics team is pretty darn good.
They are.
Well.
That they are. And they're going to have a lot of company, and so it'll be the first annual.
I am amazed at how well all of the robotics teams in this area do. So many of them go to the national championships in Houston and elsewhere.
I've been privileged to be a judge over at Knoxville for each year that we've had that competition, and it's been amazing to see the skills that these young folks have. I mean, I'm a historian, okay, but I can see that they already know a lot more about technology than I ever know.
So that does add a lot, this new element to the Secret City Festival, the Robotics Invitational. I can see that carrying on for quite some time.
It really and truly does.
Into the future, being an annual tradition. So also, of course, the Secret City Festival in Oak Ridge is known for its family entertainment, everything from inflatables to jugglers to children's shows.
You name it. We probably have it at one time, or we had it at one time.
And Joy, that's how you and I are acquainted, is through the entertainment side of the Oak Ridge Secret City Festival.
Yes, that is. I've done entertainment for on the smaller stage, which we call our pavilion, and then on the main stage, which is where we bring in the bigger acts.
So if you can picture A.K. Bissell Park, which is a lovely green space, but then drop a professional concert stage right onto the lawn there with some of the best sound you'll ever hear. Eddie Speaks just tweaks it so perfectly. And then you have these fantastic bands performing. I'm excited about Dennis DeYoung singing The Music of Styx on Friday, June 8th, and Little River Band on Saturday, June 9th.
Yes, we're excited too. We really are. We're looking forward to them.
I was blown away by the quality of the production with Three Dog Night, for example, or Grand Funk Railroad, or going back to Rick Springfield, and one after the other, and it's always a top-notch production. But the tickets are ridiculously, pardon my expression, inexpensive, affordable, because you get great sponsors.
We get great sponsors, but also one of the aims of the Secret City Festival is to make it a family event. Everything's free. Except the concerts.
Right, and the tickets, the early bird tickets are what, $22?
$22.
And then $25 if you wait.
Right,
so
if you want to wait and until you get there to see if you really want to come, they're $25. But right now they're $22. Now that goes away on May 31st. So if you want them for $22, you need to either get online or go by Citizens First Bank in Oak Ridge or any of their branches around.
And the website is secretcityfestival.com. There's also a package deal if you buy a ticket to both Dennis DeYoung and a Little River Band. It's what, $40 for both shows?
Yeah,
so
that makes it $20 a piece.
Jeez.
I mean, you can't do much better. We had Mary Wilson one time, many years ago.
Oh, from the Supremes.
Yeah, from the Supremes. And our tickets were $18. And I looked up her next venue, and the tickets were going for $85.
Sure.
So we're inexpensive.
Oh, and that's consistent with Dennis DeYoung and Little River Band as well.
I
mean, that's just the price of going to a concert nowadays. And we did touch on some of the other aspects of the science and the technology that's been represented at Secret City Festival, the different trailers from ORNL. So let's jump back to the history side of things with historian Ray Smith for a bit. I asked about the origins of Oak Ridge and the secrecy of it. Right. But after the war, it remained a very vibrant and exciting place with, obviously some of the best test scores among its students, and it's really a shining star.
Well, General Groves knew that bringing those scientists and engineers into this area of East Tennessee, he needed to do something to be sure that they got the kind of things they were expecting in the way of school. So he put Alden Blankenship in charge of the school system.
They should name a field after him.
Well, they did,
as
a matter of fact. And it's still being used today to good advantage.
Yeah.
But he gave him a free rein, told him to hire the teachers and pay them the same prices or same wages they would get in New York City. And they literally built the best school system that could have been built at that time.
Yeah.
And Oak Ridge has continued that tradition over the years. Of course, going back to the history, people thought Oak Ridge will go away after the war ended. But as you know, the Cold War started almost immediately. And the other thing that sometimes is overlooked, Oak Ridge had a tremendous involvement and engagement in producing nuclear medicine and nuclear power. So out of those, the need for the continuation of the Cold War, more bombs, and the nuclear medicine and nuclear power, those things bringing out of Oak Ridge, I mean the Navy, nuclear Navy, their uranium that runs those reactors has always been provided.
So the submarines and everything.
Submarines and all. Oak Ridge has had a tremendous continuing influence on the world. Many of the technologies that will be featured at the Secret City Festival are just to highlight those kinds of things. I mean, do you realize that even the touch screen on your iPhone, that technology comes from Oak Ridge?
I did not. That is pretty. That's fascinating.
Amazing.
And we're all accustomed to it and spoiled by it to the point. And it's so intuitive. You can hand it to my 4-year-old grandson, and they already know how to do it. Wow. All right. Well, we're all excited about the Secret City Festival, and it runs several days. It used to just be the 2 days, but you've extended it.
We're doing some things in the evening. We've got concert on our pavilion stage. And the pavilion stage is the permanent stage in AK Bissell Park.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to do a concert on Monday, June 4th. And then on Tuesday, we're going to have our Interfaith Night. And Wednesday, we're going to have a children's movie. Now, we're not going to
June 4th, 5th, 6th, we're talking about
right.
so far. Yeah.
And we're not going to have it at AK Bissell Park, but at the track at one of the middle schools. It's called the Ben Martin track, but it's at Robertsville Middle School. That's where we're going to have that. And then on Thursday, what we call Battle of the Bands. And these are teenage bands that are coming in. And they're the ones that have been put together in garages and basements all around Oak Ridge in the area. And the winner of that gets to be on the pavilion at the end of the day on Friday.
Oh, fantastic. And then at the end of the day on Friday, we move into the grassy part of Bissell Park to see Dennis DeYoung. Now, there's a great opening act for Dennis as well.
Yes, that would be the band Legacy. Mm-hmm. They are a Southern rock band.
Have they played there before? I feel like I've seen them before.
Yes, they did. They opened for Three Dog Night.
Yes,
that's why. So they have been there before. That's why. They know all the ropes. It's
well,
really
then I can say,
deal with them.
I can say from firsthand experience, they're good.
Yes, they are good, yes.
And then Dennis DeYoung will headline on Friday night, June 8th. You want to get those tickets before they're gone at secretcityfestival.com or at Citizens First Bank. And then Saturday, people love to flock to the festival all throughout the day on Saturday, go to the different vendor booths. Yes,
they do. We have lots of vendors. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of good food, and we have lots of good children's activities. And it's all free. You don't have to go buy coupons or anything. You just have to bring your kids and say, go have fun.
Just show up and enjoy.
Show up,
and then it culminates.
Enjoy it.
The festival ends on Saturday night with another ticketed event with a $22 ticket for Little River Band.
Yes.
You know, some yacht rock music, playing all those great hits like Reminiscing and Cool Change and Lonesome Loser and all those wonderful songs that they're known for. And you've got Janelle Arthur as the opening act for Little River Band. She's a local favorite.
And
very, very good. Yes. Well respected. Yes. Oliver Springs, we're glad to have her.
Well, our time has flown by, and I think we only covered a handful of the 75 years of the history of Oak Ridge.
There's a lot more.
Well, you can look up Ray Smith online. You can look up the Secret City Festival online. So best of all, come to the event, and there'll be historical exhibits there. You can learn the few little tidbits that
a lot of history there. Will be both in the Civic Center and over at the Midtown Community Center this year. We'll have two places where you can learn more about the history. And, of course, the National Park will be there as well, Manhattan Project National Historical Park. So lots to do.
Really a tremendous amount to celebrate, honoring the 75th anniversary of Oak Ridge and the Secret City Festival, especially on June 8th and 9th with Dennis DeYoung and Little River Band. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a lesson. It's going to be a family fun event. I'm delighted that I'll be there, and I look forward to seeing you. Joy Montgomery, thank you.
Thank you.
And Ray Smith, thank you very much.
You bet.
SecretCityFestival.com is the website. This is the East Tennessee Report, a public affairs program of the EW Scripps Company. My name is Frank Murphy. We'll talk to you again.